everybody. In case you missed it, I've got not one, not two, but 3 cover reveals coming very soon. In honor of the upcoming release of the 3rd book in my dark fantasy romance series, The Savior's Army, the entire series is getting a makeover. That means both the Savior's Champion and the Savior's Sister are getting new covers as well. I will be sharing these covers with my newsletter subscribers first, then I will be sharing them on Instagram, and the very last place I will be sharing them is here on YouTube. That means if you want to see the goods first, you gotta subscribe to my newsletter and follow me on Instagram. I have them linked below. Additionally, How to Write Romantasy is at New York Comic Con right now. Penguin Random House will be giving copies away, so you better be there, get yourself a copy, it's gonna be awesome. And lastly, you still have time to win a free digital copy of How to Write Romantasy on Goodreads. All you have to do is enter the Goodreads giveaway. I have it linked below. The giveaway is only available in the US, but there are 25 physical copies to give away, so get on it. On to today's topic. A while back, I asked you guys if you had any questions about my journey into traditional publishing, and I'm answering all of your questions today. There were a lot of questions, so it's gonna be a long video. For those who don't know, I am officially a hybrid author. That means some of my books are indie published and some are traditionally published. My upcoming writing craft book, How to Write Romantasy, is my first dive into traditional publishing. You should totally pre-order it right now. I've got it linked below. I've learned a lot about the industry in the process, and I thought I'd tell you all about my personal experience. Please note, I am going to be very direct and honest. There is no sugarcoating here. If you want the truth, I'm gonna give it. Let's answer your traditional publishing questions right now. How did I get my contract with 10 Speed Press? 10 Speed Press is an imprint of Penguin Random House. They published Save the Cat Writes a Novel by Jessica Brody, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, and multiple books by Dolly Parton. I wish I could give you some tips on how I landed this amazing contract, but the truth is they contacted me. One of the editors was familiar with my platform. She read The Savior's Champion and loved it. She saw that I was also a writing craft author and was curious to see if I'd be interested in writing a writing craft book all about how to write romantasy, and if so, would I be interested in publishing it through 10 Speed Press. I was actually already planning on writing a craft book about romantasy, I just hadn't started it yet, but obviously this gave me a very clear incentive to do so. I followed the steps she listed in order to finalize the contract, including providing an outline of said book. I got an agent to make sure I had a professional to help me negotiate the contract. If you want me to cover the querying process in another video, let me know in the comments below. But that's how I landed the contract. It was easy because they approached me. Now I want to make one thing clear. This situation is not the norm at all. This is not my way of bragging. I am telling you this for your safety. If a publishing house contacts you expressing interest in publishing your book, it is usually a vanity press. That means it's a disreputable publisher that is going to charge you thousands of dollars to publish your book. You're not supposed to pay a publishing house. They're supposed to pay you. And make no mistake, 10 Speed Press is not a vanity press. I did not pay them a dime. They are a legitimate and well-respected imprint. But Jenna, if this isn't the normal way to land a contract, why did they contact you? Because I've sold a ton of books and I have hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube. If you're a well-known author or if you have a recognizable and large audience, publishing houses may contact you, just as collabs and sponsors and other opportunities may come your way as well. But if you don't have a following or you're not a public figure, it ain't happening. Frankly, I'm still surprised it happened to me. 95% of the time, if you want to land a traditional publishing contract, you first need to finish a manuscript, you then need to query agents, you need to sign with an agent, and your agent needs to pitch your manuscript to different editors at different publishing houses. Is self-publishing dead? You used to be a big proponent of it. What made you decide to go traditional? Self-publishing is not dead. If it was, I wouldn't have multiple indie books available for purchase. Keep in mind, I'm a hybrid author. That means some of my books are indie and some are traditional. This has kind of been my goal for years, to be honest. Self-publishing is more popular than it's ever been, and I still recommend it for a variety of reasons. But both forms of publishing are valid, and they both have their pros and cons. As for why I decided to go traditional, it's pretty simple. An opportunity was presented to me, and I took it. I've been vocal about the fact that the reason I didn't start my publishing journey the traditional way was for for financial and marketing reasons. If you're a brand new, unknown author, publishing houses are unlikely to give you a large advance, and they're probably not going to give you much marketing. They're usually going to save their funding and marketing power for more well-known authors, which makes sense. It's a profitable decision. So I've said for years that if I was going to be treated as a priority, I would definitely consider going the traditional route, and that's exactly what's happening right now. What are some pros and cons of publishing traditionally versus self-publishing? Pro for indie publishing is greater royalties. Indie authors can get up to 70% royalties per ebook, whereas with traditional publishing, it's closer to 25%. These figures, of course, can vary. Pro for traditional, you can get an advance, which is a paycheck your publishing house offers to you upfront, usually split into 2 to 4 payments. Pro for indie, you have creative control. You get to pick your cover artist, your editor, your formatting. You have the final say for everything. Many authors who go traditional don't get to choose their cover art, or they may be encouraged to make edits they don't agree with. That was not my personal experience, but it is the norm. Pro for traditional, you don't have to pay for any publishing expenses. You don't pay for your cover artist, you don't pay for your editor, you don't pay for the copyright, you don't pay for the format. Indie authors have to foot the bill for all of this, and it can get very expensive. But traditional authors don't have to pay a dime. When publishing traditionally, is the editing up to them? Yes. You will receive an in-house editor. The publishing house pays them, nothing comes out of your pocket. You, of course, will be expected to work with the editor, you will be making edits with them, but you won't be choosing the editor, hiring them yourself, or paying them. Is there anything that you used to consider a con of traditional publishing, but now see as a pro? Or at the very least, a pro in regard to your situation? One of the cons of traditional publishing is that you're usually not going to get a say regarding your cover art. But that wasn't my experience whatsoever. I was included in every step of the process. I chose the design direction, I okayed the final design, I chose the color scheme, and I was the one who approved the final cover at the end of it all. The only part I wasn't involved in was choosing the actual cover artist, and I was honestly relieved about that. I hate picking cover artists because I'm so afraid I'm going to choose the wrong one. Plus, the artist they chose was perfect for the job, and I hadn't heard of them before, so I would have never thought to hire them. I honestly can't say enough positive things about the cover art process for How to Write Romantasy. It was so fun and stress-free. 10-speed press honestly made the process a blast. I was very fortunate to have a really good experience when it comes to traditional publishing and cover art. When going through TradPub, are publishing trends and fads something you need to consider? Yes. That's not to say you have to write whatever's trending, but publishing houses are here to make money, so you at the very least need to be able to convince them that what you're writing is marketable. When you query agents, they should be able to give you an idea of whether or not your story is marketable, and they might even give you suggestions on how to change the story to make it more desirable to publishing houses. But long story short, if they don't think they can sell your story, they're not gonna bother with it. Romantasy is one of the most popular fiction genres right now. That's why 10-speed press wanted me to write about it. If I were to pitch a writing craft book all about literary fiction, I don't think they'd be interested. Are there any assumptions you made about traditional publishing that you found out weren't the case? No. Let's make one thing clear. When it comes to my money, I don't make assumptions. I do my research. I've noticed several authors who self-publish a book and then later on it gets picked up by a traditional publisher. Is this a good route or a bad idea? It completely depends on the author's goal and the publishing contract. From what I've heard, 9 times out of 10, it comes down to money and rights. If the publishing house wants to offer you a great contract and you retain the rights, that's fantastic. But if the publishing house lowballs you with a advance, stay indie. As an indie author turned hybrid, could you describe the steps of going from indie to traditional? What was the transition like? I received the offer from 10-speed press. They gave me detailed instructions of what they needed from me in order to present an official author, like an outline, an author bio, my marketing contacts, that sort of thing. I followed those instructions. At the same time, I queried agents and landed my agent, who I adore. My agent helped me review and negotiate the contract. contract. I signed it and I wrote the book. That's it. There's no transition or complicated steps. You just do the thing. Can an author with 0 following expect a more difficult or different path to publishing? Yes. This is why I encourage all writers to create an author platform. The bigger your reach, whether you're going indie or traditional, the easier the publishing process will be. It's always harder for an unknown to land a contract. It's certainly not impossible, it happens all the time, but you really gotta shine during the querying process and write a marketable manuscript that appeals to your agent. As a first-time author, would you suggest going traditional or self-pub for your first book? It depends on your goals as well as your strengths and weaknesses. Do you want to network with agents and publishing houses? Do you want someone else to handle your copyright, your book formatting, your book cover? Are you okay with potentially lower royalties in return for less responsibility? At least at the onset. If all that sounds good, go traditional. Are you business-minded? Are you willing to learn the publishing process in order to earn higher royalties? Can you afford to hire an editor and cover artist? Do you want to take advantage of resources like Kindle Unlimited? Do you want full creative control? If that sounds good, go indie. But it's important to note that no matter which path you choose, you are going to be expected to market yourself. There is no choice that lets you off that hook. Sorry about it. What were your goals for going hybrid? Taking advantage of the best of both worlds. Greater networking and connections. Expanding my readership reach. And of course, income. If going traditional only matters via a large advance, does that make smaller presses obsolete in the face of self-publishing? Once again, it depends on the writer's goals. If a large advance was the only reason for publishing, then most authors would never publish because most authors do not receive large advances. The average advance from a debut author is around $10,000. This includes advances from major publishing houses.
My sweet girl, are you joining me? Hello.
A large advance isn't the goal for everyone. Everyone has different paths and objectives. How has your view of traditional publishing changed now that you've gone through it? My view hasn't changed. What has changed is my trajectory. I've always said that if I would be treated like a priority, I would absolutely go the traditional route. I just didn't realize I had reached that point in my career until this happened. So now I feel much more comfortable and confident in the idea of entertaining traditional publishing for future projects depending on the genre and my goals. So that's all I got for you today. How to Write Romantasy comes out October 21st, but you can pre-order it right now, and if you do, you can receive a free digital workbook all about how to write a power couple. I got it linked below. You can also check out my first writing craft book, Shut Up and Write the Book, or you can check out the first 2 books in my fantasy romance series, The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister. You want to get in on the hype soon because the Savior's Army is on its way and they're all getting new covers. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays and I host live streams on Mondays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. Bye! Have you subscribed to my channel yet? I mean, you totally should. I post new videos on Wednesdays. I also host live streams on Mondays and they're super fun. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and be sure to ring that bell. That way you're alerted as soon as I post new content.